Tonight, claims of discrimination surface on the U.S.-Canada border. A group of Michigan Muslims say they're being targeted and mishandled, and it's solely based on their religion. Let's get to our BC O'Neill. She joins us live. BC, the nation's largest Muslim civil liberties organization, is now getting involved, I hear.
They are, Carmen. They've been getting a lot of complaints from Muslims after they cross the border here into the U.S. Many Muslims saying that they've had weapons aimed at them and they've been unnecessarily questioned about their religion, and some describe the body searches as a form of sexual harassment. It's here at the U.S.-Canada border that numerous American Muslims say they've been singled out and unjustly stopped by U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents. Many of them handcuffed and searched on their way back to Michigan. Some claim to have had firearms pointed at them, and there are those who say they were grilled for nearly 10 hours about their religious practices.
No group should be subjected to any type of law enforcement that's simply predicated on the person that they are.
Some of the questions they say they're asked: how many times do you pray? Do you pray your morning prayer in the mosque? Who else prays in your mosque? Do you know any terrorists? America's largest Muslim civil liberties and advocacy organization is firing back, filing complaints about the growing issue with Homeland Security and the Department of Justice.
Law enforcement that is predicated upon religion, race, or ethnic background can potentially constitute criminal and or civil misconduct.
And all of those complaining say that most of the time they endured that sort of treatment every time they crossed the border. Those complaints will be filed first thing tomorrow morning. Back to you.
Now, BC, I understand someone has lost their job over this.
Yeah, that's what we were told, Carmen. There was one man, he says that he was a trucker and he'd cross this border all the time. Well, the questioning got so bad that he fell behind on his job, and his job had no other choice but to fire him. So a lot of people looking for a lot of questions because some people are being affected in a very negative way.
All right, and of course I know we'll stay on top of it. Our BC O'Neill reporting for us live. Devin.
Well, the new census numbers show the city of Detroit lost a lot of people, but looking at the counties is even more revealing, perhaps. Wayne County lost 12% of its population. Oakland County picked up 1%. Macomb County gained 7%, but the biggest increase in southeast Michigan, look at Livingston County, up 15%. Our business editor Rod Meloni is live with more on what these numbers really mean. And Rod, even the counties that have grown are having a tough time right now.
Yeah, that's true, Devin. I mean, let's face it, Detroit is reeling as a result of the census, and there is the flip side to that in Livingston County. And yet it's sad in Michigan that the people who are at the head of the class still find them suffering just a little bit less. And in fact, it's a case of arrested development.
Oh. It's March Madness at the Jewell household in Marion Township, a place the census says grew by 50% over the last decade. They moved into this new sub just before 6-year-old Colin came along.
We love the country, and it's close to the freeway still, so it's great freeway access, and it's just a central location.
Marion's next to Howell, and it too grew, mainly because the oft-decried urban sprawl of the housing boom came here.
It's a little bit of heaven on earth.
New residents like Karen and Dan Paris, formerly of Canton, love the life.
So it's just a negative to be in Wayne County as far as I'm concerned anymore. You know, I mean, I grew up there, but I'm glad to be out here.
We love our family, so we go back, but we're very glad to come back home.
Livingston County's emergency services are good, though. Auto supplier Magna lauded area fire departments for containing last month's massive Howell fire. Now the county's installing new fiber optic cables for its 911 system and merging the entire system into one ahead of the governor's mandate. County Commissioner Jim Manti says the growth's now come to a screeching halt and they have to cut.
We have cut our budget back significantly in the last 4 years, and we have cut back our staff at the county level.
They've cut hundreds of heads in the county to make sure that they have that balanced budget that they do have. So that is the benefit of the growth that they had about 10 years ago. One of the problems some of the townships are having, though, is that as that growth was starting, the local communities were helping fund infrastructure developments. And when the developers pulled out, they're left holding the bag on that. They're still paying that off. But life in Livingston County is certainly appreciably better than in many other places in Metro Detroit. Live downtown, Rod Meloni, Local 4.
No doubt. All right, Rod, for a more comprehensive view of these census numbers that we first reported for you yesterday, head to clickondetroit.com. They are on the community page.
An Inkster police officer who pleaded guilty to neglect of duty in a wide-ranging scandal was sentenced today to serve 90 days in jail. Scott Reeksegal was charged with fellow officer Robert